warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mira Putri Utami. I am from second group. Today we are going to talking about language, dialects, and varieties. Happy watching!
Language definition. According to Bollinger, defined language as a system of vocal auditory communication using conventional sign composed of arbitrary pattern sound units and assembled according to set when interacting with the experiences of its user. Every social organization requires some means through which members can communicate with one another. It is through this means that they could transfer set of meanings and achieve some degree of mutual understanding. They also enable people to develop consensus or a shared set of meanings, and it is only when such consensus exists that people are able to act together. In both human and animal societies, communication is largely carried out through the use of sign. However, the sign has been classified into two, natural and conventional. Whereas subhuman use extensively natural sign, human being on the other hand communicates by means is conventional sign or symbol. Therefore, said to take both language and symbol signs, they cannot abstract a concept from a particular concrete text. Language is therefore restricted a human group. And next is about form of language. The major form in which language may be expressed among human groups are spoken words, written words, drawing, and paintings. Besides the use of language in the three most common forms, the people also uses other ways to create and convey symbols. For instance, they symbolize through personal gestures like hugs, handshakes, winks, or nod. However, human beings alone create symbols and combine them into a system of language. And next, socio-cultural significance of language. The first one is about communication. Language provides the human society with writing or other means of communication. Without language, it would have been very difficult, if not impossible, for men to engage in complete social interaction. The second one is about socialization. Language is the major instrument through which knowledge, values, norms, and capabilities of a social group are passed on to new members. All of the agents of socialization is family, school, industry, and etc. require language in order to socialize individuals in the proper ideals of the society. And the third one is about cultural accumulation. Development and transmission measures elements of culture are acquired, developed, and transmitted by means of language. Language pervades all activities involving culture. 4. Education. Learning in society, whether in a formal or informal settings, is conducted through language. In addition, the transmission of knowledge in both simple and complex societies are largely conducted by means of language. Invariably, then language is the only means through which education could be possible. And the last one is about cooperation. Cooperation activities in human society are made possible through language. It ensures that human beings have understanding among themselves, leading to cooperation in major endeavors. Without such cooperation, many complex activities of man would have been impossible.
Dialect. If we are talking about dialects, it is necessary to understand what is meant by standard language. Standard language is the only kind of variety which can be called a proper language. It is normally used by the government as a language to be used as the administrative matters in formal situations like the language for education, law, economic activities, and so on. In multilingual society, the use of standard language is very often deviated from its origin. The deviation is often found in the form of lexical choices, pronunciation, grammar, phonology, morphology, and syntax. The deviation from standard is normally called a dialect of the same language. The term dialect can also be used to describe differences in speech associated with various social groups or classes. Dialect may be in the forms of regional dialect and social dialect. The first one is regional dialect. Regional variation in the language is spoken is likely to provide one of the easiest ways of observing variety in language. As you travel throughout a wide geographical area in which a language is spoken, and particularly if that language has been spoken in that area for many hundreds of years, you are almost certain to notice differences in pronunciation, in the choice and forms of words, and in syntax. There may even be very distinctive local colorings in the language, which you notice as you move from one location to another. Such distinctive varieties are usually called regional dialects of the language. The term dialect is sometimes used only if there is a strong tradition of writing in the local variety. For example, there are accents associated with North America, Singapore, India, and so on. However, many people who live in such places show a remarkable uniformity to one another in their grammar and vocabulary, because they speak standard English and the differences are merely those of accent, exactly how they pronounce what they say. The last one is social dialect. The term dialect can also be used to describe differences in speech associated with various social groups or classes. Regional dialects are geographically based. Social dialects originate among social groups and are related to a variety of factors, the principal ones apparently being social, class, religion, and ethnicity. In India, for example, caste, one of the clearest of all social differentiators, quite often determines which variety of language speakers use. In cities like Baghdad, the Christian, Jewish, and Muslim inhabitants speak different varieties of Arabic.
The next is accent. Dialect must not be confused with accent. Standard English is spoken in a variety of accent. RP or recited pronunciation is the English accent that has achieved certain eminence. According to Trago, Standard English is a dialect preeminently used in writing that is largely distinguishable from other English dialects by means of its grammar. Associated with a higher social or educational background. Higher education is third level education after you leave school. It takes place at university and Further education college and normally includes undergrad and postgrad study. Most commonly due to student EFL, English as a foreign language. Some of these terms are not in widespread use outside of the material or provides of various programs and materials. Other names for this accent: the Queen's English, Oxford English, BBC English. Previously referred to as the Queen's English, BBC English, or Oxford English. Deciphered pronunciation, or RP, for short, is the accent usually described as typically British. Find out more about its origin and its current status in the UK. The next social dialect example: ethnic group in America, Labo war in NE. In one of the early students of variation in a military community Labo, found that among American adults in New York, speakers of Jewish and Italian ethnicity different from the standard variety or Black English. Like other widely spoken language, African American English show variation such as in vernacular versus standard forms, stylish variation, rural versus urban characteristic, variation based on geography. Next, social dialect. Word the 90. The variety is defined in the terms of a specific set of linguistic items of human speech pattern, or perceivable sounds, words, grammatical feature, which we can uniquely associate with some external factor. Hudson, a set of linguistic items with similar distribution. The terms dialect can also be used to describe difference in speech associated with various social group or class. There are social dialects as well as regional ones, whereas regional dialects are geographical social dialect origin among social groups and are related to a variety of factors. The principal ones: number 1, social situation is known rules for interpreting a setting and social interaction. 2, occupation and activity in which one in pursuing pleasure has been his major occupation. B, the principal business of one's life. Vocation teacher was her occupation. 3, age is example of age in a sentence. Some people are reluctant to reveal their age. She died tragically at a young age. 4, geography. Geography is the study of place and the relationship between people and their environments. Geographers explore what the physical properties of Earth's surface and the human society spread across. Geography seeks to understand where things are found, why they are there, and how they develop and change over time. Number 5. Education. Education is the process of facilitating learning, or the acquisition of knowledge, skill, value, morals, beliefs, and habits. Number 6. Gender. Gender refers to the characteristic of women, men, girls, and boys that are society constructed. This includes norms, behaviors, and rules associated with being a woman, man, girl, or boy, as well as relationship with each other. As a social contract, gender varies from society to society and can change over time. Number 7. Social status or class is social class. Also called class, a group of people with a society who possess the same socio-economic status. Besides being important in a social theory, the concept of class as a collecting of individuals sharing similar economic circumstances has been widely used in cases and in studies of social mobility. Next, number 8. Ethnicity. Ethnicity is an identity based upon a presumption of shared history and common cultural inheritance. Ethnic identity is shaped by both ethnic affiliation and ethnic attribution. Ethnic affiliation refers to individuals' own sense of group membership and the characteristic of the group as defined its member.
The next is about varieties. All languages exhibit a great deal of internal variation. That is to say, each language exists in a number of varieties. Never tell us what is meant by a variety of a language, or thou define it as a specific set of linguistic items or human speech patterns like sounds, words, grammatical features, which can be associated with some external factor like geographical area or a social group. A language itself can be viewed as a variety of the human languages. A member of a speech community need not have communicative competence in just one speech variety. He could be competent in a number of them. This claim does not seem so hard to accept when we consider that speech varieties, after all, need not mean what is generally interpreted as language. A speech variety could be a national language, but it could also refer to a geographical or a social dialect or sociolect or specialist varieties such as register, style, and speech levels, etc. The range of linguistic varieties which the speaker has at his disposal is referred to as a speech repertoire. In the discussion of speech varieties, the concept of domain is of importance as it signifies the class of situation within which a certain speech variety is used. A domain is also referred to as a social situation as the implementation of the rights and duties of a particular rule relationship in the place most appropriate or most typical for the relationship, and at the time societally defined as appropriate for the relationship. The domains may refer to those of home, schools, employment, mosque, etc. Such terms as language, standard language, dialect,
style, speech level, register, pidgin, Creole are referred to as varieties of the language. In this relation, Fishman states that each language variety can be identified its sound systems, vocabularies, grammatical features, and meaning. Language varies from one social group to another social group, from one situation to another situation, and from one place to another place. Variation shows that every speaker does not speak the same way all the time. Language varieties indicate that the speakers are distinct from members of other groups. Language variety that signifies particular situation of use in code registers. It is appropriate for use in particular speech situations. There are some examples of language variation that are of interest to linguistics according to lingua francas, pidgins, creoles, jargon, slang, and taboo language. Varieties of language develop for a number of reasons. Difference can come about for regional. People who live in different geographic areas often develop distinct dialects, variation of standard language. Ethnic and social, such as class, age, gender, and education.
That's all about language, dialects, and varieties from our group. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.